tournament of power begin!
What's good, YouTube, and welcome back to the channel. Christian here again with another video, and today we got a review of unofficial Skies tournament rules. There's a tournament that he's hosting. It's coming up soon, as you saw, so go mess with his channel and mess with the tournament. But I'm going to be reviewing the tournament rules because, as you see, he claims that he has the best Sparking Zero competitive tournament rules. So I'm going to be reviewing those and seeing if that's correct. And I'm going to give you my raw thoughts. This is not hate video towards his rule set. These are just my thoughts and preferences to see if I like the rules or not, okay? So let's get started and let's click on that video and see what he got to say.
Yo, Unofficial Sky. Today I have the tournament rules and registrations video for you guys to keep y'all updated, give you more information on what's going on with the tournament that I am hosting on June 21st at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We can talk about the tournament rules. As we know, Sparking Zero could be a little chaotic when it's left unchecked, so I had to put these rules in there to make the game a lot more competitive and a lot more, balance, if you want to say, like for tournament wise. So first things first, we have the connection. So connection test is mandatory before each match.
Obviously, we know Sparking Zero has kind of like inconsistent netcode, so this is very necessary. But let's get into the good shit, man. Let's see the good shit, character ban list, etc. Let's get into it. All right, so here we go. Characters. Let's see what he got to say about the characters
and the character bans. So this is going to be a max 8 DP cost tournament. So any character below the cost of 8 DP is allowed.
So max DP cost of 8. Let me go back. He went a little too fast.
We're not doing that. All right, moving on to the characters and the character bans. So this is going to be a max 8 DP cost tournament. So any
All right, so max DP cost of 8, no 4 or 3.5 health bar characters, and no UI sign Goku, okay? Now, I pulled up a list of characters to help me out here. So let's see who that includes or excludes, okay? That means you'll be able to use basically SS4 Goku and SS4 Vegeta, but then it removes Gotenks, Gogeta, Super Vegito. It removes Fuse Samasu, SS2 Kefla. It removes God Topo. Basically, the majority of the 8 DP characters. So my question is, why even make it 8 DP if you're just going to exclude the majority of the 8 DP characters? Basically, you're only leaving a couple in there. Basically, it means Jiren is going to be meta, essentially, in this tournament because he has Explosive Wave and he just does a lot of damage for a 3-bar character. Hit will be a good pick, but he does not have Explosive Wave. So let's see if he has an answer to that. Also, 3.5 bars being out, that means the Brolys are out. Final Form Cooler, which is a cool character, he's out. Basically, you're excluding a lot of the cast here. I don't know how I feel about that just yet, but let's keep going with the video and see what else he says.
Any character below the cost of 8 DP is allowed. Anybody above is automatically banned. So your Beerus, Luis, your Jiren, Full Power Jiren, these characters are banned. No more. Get them out of here. What's also banned is no 4 to 3.5 health bar characters. So we're keeping it 3 bar and below. I really don't want, because like in the last tournament, the health difference really showed, especially since it was hands only and you couldn't really do supers or anything. The health difference really showed. So no 4 bar or 3.5 bar characters. Next up we have,
yeah, but at the same time it's like, okay, certain character, but you're allowing 8 DP. So Final Form Cooler, for example, will balance well against Jiren, for example. So that would be a good match even with the extra health. I mean, some of the stats make up for the unbalance in health. So I don't know how I feel about excluding health bar. I would have just made it a DP requirement baseline, just cut it off at 7 DP and just exclude all 8 DP characters, because you basically got rid of like a bunch of them. Yeah, like basically you can only use about 44% of the 8 DP cast in this tournament. So why even include the 8 DP tier in the tournament is my question. You could have just left it at 7 DP, just made a 7 DP tournament. But hey, let's see what else he got to say.
Are the banned characters. So we're
Okay, so we're banning more characters. So we're banning Berserk, Kale, all androids, giants, fusions, and UI Sign Goku. Fusions, I mean, obviously because they have more health. So those were included in the previous ban just because of health alone. Giants makes sense, but androids, I'm kind of iffy about banning androids. Okay, so let's go back to the character list. So you're banning androids. That means you can't play Metacooler, Fusion Android 13. You can't play the Gammas. Who else? I mean, Android 17, who's a 6 DP character, you can't play. So you think Android 17 is broken compared to Jiren, for example? I don't know if that was necessary. Let's see. So 5 DP versions of androids are also banned. So you're banning a less powerful version of Android 17, Android 16. I mean, yeah, they have the key advantage, but when it comes to stats, the 8 DP picks might be able to overcome that. So I don't know if it was necessary to ban all androids. Maybe you could have banned Android 13, but you already banned 4.5 health bar characters, so it's not even necessary because you couldn't even transform into Android 13. So I think that ban was a little excessive, in my opinion. Again, this is just my thoughts, raw thoughts on the rule set. You could disagree with me in the comments if you want and let me know why I'm wrong.
banning all androids, no giants, no fusions, no UI sign, and no berserk tail. These are the characters that are banned from the tournament. Not allowed in. You can't play these characters. Next rule, hard knockdowns are not allowed in the tournament. So you can't fly all the way up at the top, hit somebody with a hard knockdown, and then like get a sleep or a...
So all hard knockdowns are banned? But I mean, how are you going to control that? Because if you just follow through with a combo, you're going to hard knock down your opponent. Or how can you even notice? What if it was a misinput by the opponent and he accidentally doesn't recover in time and he gets hard knockdown, or the connection forces a hard knockdown? I feel like at this point, you're kind of just limiting Spark and Zero a little bit too much. Now, if you want to say force hard knockdown into Spark is banned, or maybe Spark in general, like maybe you can't Spark, then I would maybe agree with that. But banning force hard knockdowns, or hard knockdowns in general, not even force hard knockdowns in general, I feel like how could you even enforce that? That's going to be a little hectic to enforce.
like full charge up to your sparking. That's not allowed. You can't use hard knockdowns. But I do know it sometimes happen on accident. So if it ever happens to you in the tournament and it happens on accident, right? Like you didn't mean to do it, all you got...
I think a good answer to force hard knockdowns would be you can't double sweep into a hard knockdown. That would be a good ban. So you can't sweep into a sweep. If you sweep into a sweep, then that's illegal. But if you were to do a force hard knockdown with your combo string, I feel like that should be legal. Or even if you follow the combo through and get a force hard knockdown, I feel like that should be legal as well. But, no hard knockdowns whatsoever, it's a little excessive in my opinion.
Got to do is just reset neutral. That's it. Reset neutral, and then you guys can continue the match. Up next, I have
Another thing is, what if I want a hard knockdown to get some key or something like that? So that's not allowed. I mean, that's part of the game. At this point, it's like you're not even really playing Spark and Zero. It's not, because this claims to be the best Spark and Zero competitive tournament rules, the best, right? But you're really just limiting the game down a lot. You just took out, you're only using 44% of the ADP cast. Now you're taking a whole mechanic out the game. So already it's a little excessive.
transforming. Now, I know we talked about transforming in the last tournaments. Like tournaments before, you weren't really allowed to transform. And I feel like that's kind of it's kind of lame. I kind of want people to transform for one of two reasons. Reason one being, let's say I'm playing God Goku and I have these as my rush strings. I transform to Super Saiyan Blue Goku, and all of a sudden my rest strings are now completely different, which puts another level of mental stack when it comes to playing the game. And I think that's kind of hype to see how fast people could adapt to certain strings and certain characters on the fly. So transforming is 100% allowed in the tournament.
I think that's good. I think transforming should be allowed. That's part of Dragon Ball, part of Sparking Zero. And you know, if you follow my channel, I love me some transformations, especially the cheap transformations that allow you to link into skill points. And see, that might be a difference that we have between me and Unofficial Sky. I like those mechanics. I like that you can link supers together, or you can transform into an after image and stuff like that. I think that makes the game more fun, and it makes you use more of the cast in more creative ways. Now, I know Unofficial Sky made a hands-only tournament, so he might be more biased towards just the melee side of Sparking Zero. But I think in a way, you know, just limiting it to just hands makes it kind of boring from my perspective, at least for my taste. Everyone has their own taste. But so far, allowing transformations, I agree with that.
Tournament. What's not allowed, though, is that you can't transform past the limit of 8. Can't exceed the DP limit on the tournament. So let's say if I'm playing Ultimate Gohan from Superhero, I cannot transform to Beast Gohan because, like, 1, it exceeds the limit, and 2, it's a 4-bar character, which is not allowed. Moving on to skill use.
But see, that's why I think there should have been a limit on DP. For example, if you don't allow 8 DP characters, then Superhero Gohan has to start at 4 DP, and if you want to get to Beast, you have to transform twice. That wastes your skill points, similar to a DP battle. In a DP battle, transforming from base to ultimate and to Beast, it's kind of like a tall order. It's kind of hard to do. So I think limiting it to 7 and under and allowing transforming without limits would allow like a base Gohan to take that risk and try to get to Beast, and that would be kind of like an interesting thing to see in a tournament. But this isn't that type of tournament. But if it were me, I would have did it 7 and under and just allowed no restrictions on transformations, and I would have allowed androids as well.
Usage and limits. So defensive skills like Explosive Wave and Barriers are a max use of 3 times per game. So let's say your game 1, use Explosive Wave 3 times. You're not allowed to use it for that game, but coming game 2, then you're allowed to use it. That's what it means by max use per game. Healing skills, so like let's say Mini Vegeta's Revival Bug, Yajirobe Sensu Bean, and the Sleep, they're all limited to 1 time per game and go past 1. Only do it 1 time in a game. Super armor skills, max limit 2 times per game. After Image Strike, max limit 1 time per game. After Image is a max limit of 2 times per game. Wild Sense is a max limit of 2 times per game. And Insta Spark is a max limit of 1 time per game. Cutscene.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. That rule set right there is just very convoluted. Like, you think people gonna remember during a hard match if they use the after image 2 times or not? Like, I don't feel like people gonna be able to remember that. Again, these rules are a little too convoluted to be claiming that they're the best Sparking Zero competitive tournament rules. I don't know. To me, you shouldn't even limit. Like, if you go make a tournament with skill points being able to be used, it's not a hands only tournament. There should be no limit on the amount of times you can use skills. That's just it. I mean, and again, like after Image Strike, like what character has after Image Strike? Like Dabura, okay. Well, you allowed ADP characters. Is Dabura better than Jiren even with after Image Strike? Potentially no. So it's already kind of balanced in that way. Like, yeah, you have after Image Strike, but you're Dabura, at the end of the day. Like, you're not Jiren or anything powerful like that. So I don't know. I just feel like this tournament's a little too restrictive from my perspective so far, especially with the skill point limit and having different limits on different skills. For Explosive Wave, and everybody knows I do not like Explosive Wave, but just limiting it to 3 is like, again, like during a match, are you really going to remember if you used it 3 times or not? Like, I don't know. It's going to be hard to keep track of. It's going to be a little convoluted.
In full power key moves, so like let's say all the base Gohans, they have like that full power move and kill too, full power key regen or whatever it is, that is a max limit of 1 time per game.
So you can only regen your key once, but you can Explosive Wave 3 times. Already you're creating even more unbalance, because those characters a lot of the time don't even have defensive moves. So what? So I can only refill my key once, but my opponent can just explosive wave me 3 times during the match. Already, I feel like that's unfair. Okay, it should be unlimited amount of times of full power. Because that move, while it's good, it's like explosive wave is even better in my opinion.
A lot of people wanted another hands only tournament, but I kind of don't want to do that. I kind of want to mix it up a little bit. So supers are allowed, but you're only allowed 2 supers per game. So
bro, what is that, bro? Supers only 2 per game. Like, first of all, supers ain't even all that in a competitive setting. People gonna vanish the super realistically, so they're not gonna be using supers all that much anyway. So you might as well make it unlimited. I don't know why you were limiting supers to only 2 uses. I think that's pretty dumb. But you know, hey, it's your rule set, it's your tournament, it's your audience, so you can do whatever you want. But this is just my review of it. I think super should be unlimited. You know, that's just me. Again, and skill point usage should be unlimited as well, in my opinion.
So hopefully that kind of like takes, like, a lot of people wanted supers, a lot of people wanted hands only. So hopefully I kind of like meet in the middle with everybody with this one. So 2 supers allowed per game. And
ain't nobody in a competitive setting spamming supers anyways. That's just my opinion, because they get vanished and punished very easily in a high skill level setting.
finally, the way the sets are going to be played out, it's going to be a best of 3 until top 8. So in your pools, you're going to be playing a best of 3. And then when it comes to top 8, it will now be a best of 5. And that is pretty much it for the rules.
All right, so those are the rules of the tournament. Now let's go into the actual characters and see who I think is going to be meta in this tournament. Okay, so we're going up to 8 DP, but we're limiting to only certain characters, 3-bar characters, right? So SS4 Goku might be pretty good in this tournament, and SS4 Vegeta has explosive weight, but I just feel like Jiren overall is the best character, like no matter what, because he has explosive wave. He hits very fast, and you know, in a setting where you're limiting skill point usage and it's basically gonna be hands only, Jiren's gonna run away with it, in my opinion. Now SSJ Blue Goku might be a black horse though, because he has you know, good strings and he hits very hard. Now let's see, in the 7 DP category, who do I think could be viable in this tournament? The thing is, Kid Buu, while he's fast, he's just not better than Jiren because he doesn't have the explosive wave, and you can only use sleep once, and you can't force a hard knockdown, so you can't even sleep really. So Kid Buu is out. Majin Vegeta starts with full ki, that's pretty strong. And let's see, SSJ Goku can transform to 8, and his bind is unlimited basically. You didn't limit bind, right? So you limited defensive move, but you didn't limit bind moves, so that could be useful to have. Super Baby 2 is always good in a tournament setting because he has that explosive wave. But again, I just don't think he'll be better than Jiren. I feel like Jiren is by far the best character in this list. And in my opinion, anyone below that is just not worth using. So I don't see anybody using like these characters right here in the 6 DP list. Again, you banned androids, but androids are 5 DP characters. I feel like that was unnecessary because they're pretty weak stat wise. So even though they have the advantage of key regen, it would be kind of fair to have the androids in there because of their lower stats, and it would make the tournament more interesting in my opinion. And then not worth even discussing for DP and under. So really, let's see. So Jiren is probably going to be the best character to pick in this tournament. You know, you get 2 supers a match, and that's enough for Blue Vegeta to run away with a match because of his Gamma Burst Flash. So that might be a good strategy. SSJ4 Goku, with his lack of explosive wave and only being able to use full power once a match, basically goes down a tier. If it was unlimited, if you could continuously use full power, then maybe he would be a little stronger. That's why I think limiting full power is kind of dumb, because you know, SSJ4 Goku doesn't have a defensive move, for example. It would balance nicely with Jiren's ability to explosive wave multiple times in a match. So really, I could see SSJ4 Vegeta, SSJ Blue Vegeta, SSJ Blue Goku, and Jiren being the best characters for this tournament. But we'll see how it goes. I'll be watching. I probably won't participate because I'm a pretty busy guy and I don't have the game on PC. but I'll be watching and I'll review some of the matches afterwards. You know, another question I have is, why did you limit SSJ Kale Berserk if you only limited supers to 2, right? So what was the necessity of getting rid of her when she can only super twice, right? I don't think that was necessary. I don't know. The rules are a little jumbled. They could be worked on a little bit, just to make them, you know, more simple to follow. There's a lot of limits on abilities that are different, you know, and remembering all the rules during the match is going to be kind of like a challenge, but we'll see. I'll watch the tournament and I'm going to review some of the matches. So I'll see you on that video, and let me know what you think about this rule set, and I'll catch you on the next video. Peace out.